Hey everybody, so wanted to welcome you back to the channel and go over the gear that I actually brought home from the CDT and kind of compare it to what I started out with. So with that in mind, I have been away from the trail for a month and I've gone on like a 2-week hike too, so there have been some substitutions, some gear wore out and I replaced it before I went out again, so I'm going to do my best. This is like 90% of what I carried back, but I'll let you know what is missing, what I changed, and things of that nature. So, without further ado, here's basically everything. And what I'll start with is the footwear. So, stayed with the same shoes that I had starting out the Superior 5s. I guess I was in 4.5s in the beginning of the trail, and then they updated the model. And then my Toms, these are a different pair. I got a replacement along the way. They're all worn out now, so they're done, and you can see I had to patch it up with duct tape. Definitely would still bring the Toms. I will bring them on the PCT as the camp shoe. Really great town shoe as well. Only drawback is really not being able to ford in them, but the Superiors dry out so quickly that it really wasn't a problem on the CDT, especially with how dry everything was. So starting with the clothing, ended up changing this pretty drastically for the upper half of my body. So one of the things that you're not going to see here that I'd already gotten rid of was the hat, the big floppy hat that you see in all my videos. Did pick up a beanie from Melanzano when I was in Leadville. That came in handy. This is a bug net, wind jacket, and rain pants. And then I've got backup shirt. This is my main shirt when I was hiking. It's also my sun hoodie. And then this is an Icebreaker 200 that I got on trail. And being able to layer these two together was huge in regulating temperature. I didn't bring a rain jacket because, as you don't see here, I also was carrying an umbrella. It's down in the car right now. I'm probably going to switch to carrying a rain jacket instead of a wind jacket because of the cold rain. So it was great on the AT to not have to worry about a jacket, because with an umbrella you just kind of like didn't sweat underneath your rain jacket. Because of like the cold rains at the bookends of the season, what I needed to do was probably have that jacket to be a little bit more comfortable. Got gloves, thicker gloves than what I started out with, camp socks, gaiters, Melanzana. This was awesome for the entire trail. Was also part of the layering up and down process. So it, bottom, mid, outer, and then if I really needed it, there is a puffy right here. So moving on through the clothes, I've got, there we go. I've got the 5 pairs of socks. I highly recommend people bring extra pairs of socks. Just makes everything easier. Got my shorts and boxers, and then thermal leggings. So all of this was basically enough to keep me warm, and also was great like layering to go from really cold mornings to like 85 degrees in the afternoon, so you just kind of take one layer off at a time as things start to warm up. Big part of the weight right here is, well, a big part of the weight that I carried is what you see right here with the clothing. Probably not going to carry a backup set of clothes when I do the PCT, just because I'll have my rain gear that I got a little bit more comfortable just like chilling in that. So that will be the strategy for that trail next summer. Food storage here, I've got my op sacks, sack, and just a regular roll top stuff sack, and my sit pad. Sit pad's not part of the meal stuff, but I just figured that's right there, so I might as well. We'll probably try to carry this as much as I can. There are parts of the CDT that I will need to carry a bare canister for. I did have one at the beginning of this trail, but it wasn't like something that I wanted to carry. Let's see. Rain cover, and then this is not the same water filtration that I had on trail. I had a Sawyer. This is a Katadyn that fits into this bag. At the end of probably the end of New Mexico, I had switched all the way to Sawyer. So this was really just a reserve reservoir, and there would have been a Sawyer filter in here. Have a spoon because I started to cook towards the very end of trail. This is my sleep setup. So this is the sleep pad. I got a sleeping bag liner to help with also, you know, layering when I'm sleeping. And then I got a new pillow because the one that I had busted. This is the puffy that I was talking about before. This isn't my sleep stuff because I would usually stuff it in the bottom of the sleeping bag, I guess, the foot box, and that would help keep me warm. I would also really only wear this at night when we were eating dinner. In addition to the sleep setup, I've got my tent and tarp, and then I've got the stakes in here somewhere, probably down at the bottom. Yeah, right here. Anyway, kept that, and you'll notice everything's like divided up by pods. So sleep pod, tent pod, clothing pod, and then ditty bag. And so that helped keep things dry. So what having the pods allowed me to do was get rid of the bag liner that I'd had. Not that it was a lot of weight, but just kind of keep things dry. One of the problems is that, like, if you pack up after a rainy day, you might have dry stuff in your bag and you want to keep it separate and have a moisture barrier between it and the wet stuff that you might be packing up. So the pods made it really easy to be able to compartmentalize and keep the dry stuff dry and prevent water from getting all over everything. This is probably the best purchase of the trail, the fanny pack. Really happy that I'd gotten that. Made things a lot easier after one of the hip belt pockets on my pack broke off. So this is the Arc Blast 55 from Z-Packs. Very happy with it. Got about 2 years out of it. It's done now. You'll notice that I've got a lot of tape on the bottom. Most of that was preemptive, but you can still see where a lot of holes punctured, especially in the front edge here. And so it's like Swiss cheese on the inside. I also had a little bit of breakage after trail, so another reason why I won't be using it again. But great pack, 2 years, about 3,000 miles, very happy, very light, very comfortable. Definitely recommend it. I'm probably going to get a different pack though for the PCT, something that's a little bit smaller. Bear spray, obviously, for grizzlies, and then this is kind of representative of my water bottle holder. So I had something that was strapped to the chest strap, and that broke at the very last part of the trail, so this was the one that I got to go hiking, but just to represent that. And of course trekking poles. So the real, I guess, interesting part is in the ditty bag. I've got my med kit, patch kit, battery bank, and then also consider like cords and plugs for town, headlamp, emergency blanket, trowel. There would be some TP in here, and then this is a bear bag hanging kit. So inside of it I've got my line, carabiners, and then this purple thing can be used as a rock bag. So that is basically everything that I brought onto the trail, and then ended up finishing with a lot less than what I had started with. Oh, then my GoPro gear. Obviously I've got the GoPro, a stand, and then a backup battery. So as I look around real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything, cell phone, trekking poles, and that's about it. Oh, the Garmin. So Garmin GPS to track, and it's got the SOS button. So if you guys weren't aware, there is a link that you can follow in all these videos that has my I guess history of where I was and on every single day. So I tracked almost every single day on the trail, and you can go back and take a look at where I was on any given day of this summer. And then I can't leave, you know, the big orange thing right there, completely spaced on it. That is Z-Packs 30 degree quilt. Worked worked great for the entire trail. Probably could have had it the entire time, especially if I'd gotten the sleeping bag liner earlier. Really did a great job. Did have the REI Magma 15 for a little bit in Colorado, but that was so bulky that it was really making it difficult to pack up the bag. So I've since switched back and stayed with it. So that's all the gear. I will do another gear video probably before I hit the PCT, and I'll probably review this to make sure that I don't overpack again like I did for the CDT. But a lot of times people pack their fears, and I was definitely underprepared for the CDT, but I don't think that that's going to be the case for this next trail. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and I will get you my thoughts on whatever you ask. So thank you guys for joining us again today, and I'll see you on the PCT next summer.